All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In a few minutes here, we will be joined by Mr. Billy Davidson. And we will also be answering calls. If you call into the number that I have commented, we will answer your call, take your question, and then answer your question. And I'll go ahead and post that number again. So after we're joined by Billy, y'all can call in and we'll get those questions answered. Okay. Yes, indeed. We got all these comments rolling in. We will be answering those shortly. About to be joined by the man himself, Mr. Billy Davidson. All right.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Sorry I'm late. We were stuck in traffic and almost got stopped by the police, but I told them I had to be here with y'all this afternoon, so they gave us a warning and we went on. You know, that's what that Tesla will do for you. So,
Absolutely.
So thanks anyway, guys, for joining us this afternoon. We appreciate y'all spending the afternoon with us. We're going to be answering your questions, whether you want to put them in a chat box below. I'm going to have Apex just go through as many as we can. Also, we're going to do something a little new this afternoon. Apex has got his number down in the message. If you would like to call in and speak to everyone live here on YouTube, we'll answer a few questions live on a speakerphone. If not, we can just answer them through the chat messages here below. Also, guys, if y'all haven't subscribed to Apex, please go do that now. You want to tell them your YouTube channel, Apex?
Okay, so my YouTube channel is Apex Pressure Washing. You can look in the chat where I've sent a message and just tap on my profile and it'll take you right to it.
We definitely appreciate you subscribing to them. What, you around 300-400 subscribers now, or?
Yeah, I'm at about 415 as of today. So.
Oh, not bad. Okay, so we're trying to get him to that 1,000 where he can start doing some live videos too as well from his mobile device. So that's kind of the threshold YouTube requires is to have those 1,000 subscribers. So so we know we've had a lot of cold weather, a lot of rain here where we at is finally starting to straighten up. It's not so cold. So we're going to do this live broadcast with you all tonight. And then we'll be leaving out to go do a bit of parking lot striping tonight. We don't have nothing major to do. It's just some small stuff, but we're going to be in several locations. We kind of enjoy doing it. You get to move around a little bit. Yeah. So we have any questions or calls coming in thus far?
We don't have any calls yet, but we've got plenty of comments, plenty of questions. So
okay, well let's do a couple questions. And remember, guys, y'all can call that number if you want to be live here on the air with everybody. So what's your first?
Okay. Let me see here. First question is Michael Williams says, "How soon can I start pressure washing?"
Right now.
Okay. Right now, dude.
Now, Michael, that's always a good question, because depending on where you at going through that journey of starting your business, you might be a little apprehensive about starting, but you have to get that first job done. You have to take that first step, and I don't procrastinate about anything. You know, Apex is either now or never, and that's how I am. So go ahead and get started. Start making some money. Do we need to bring our camera down a little bit?
Yeah, I'm gonna just bring it down. Okay.
Yep, it looks a little high before.
Yeah.
We had someone else setting us up. Yeah, much better.
Yeah, keep going and right there.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
So yeah, get started as soon as possible. Start making some checks.
All right, next question comes from Robert Wilkinson. He says, "Hello, the apartment complex where I live, Tampa, Florida, asked me to bid pressure washing their fence. Yeah, their fence. It has 254 sections, 6 foot each, for a total of 1,524 feet, 6 feet tall. What do I bid it at?"
Okay, we're going to go over that. We're going to kind of break this down for Mr. Robert Wilkinson. Also, I want to mention, guys, Robert Wilkinson is been talking to him for a bit now. Robert, thank you for those prayers. As y'all all know, I suffer from different ocular diseases. Sometimes I have good days, sometimes bad days. Most of the days is kind of like in between. And Robert had led us through some prayers. I'm a man of faith, and I know a lot of you are too as well. And Robert, we appreciate that. So let's break down the numbers real quick and see if we can give them a hand on it. Go over the numbers really quick again.
Okay, 254 sections, 6 foot each, for a total of 1,000.
Okay, so what's the total you said?
1,524 feet, 6 foot tall.
So is that vinyl, wood, or?
It is. It just says fence. It doesn't specify.
I would say you're probably going to start out about $1 a linear foot. Now, I understand that Florida has a lot more competition and they have driven down the prices, but still, at the end of the day, you don't want to do it too cheap. In my area, $1 per linear foot, one side, and then 50 cents per linear foot the other side if you're doing the other side. So, I hope that helps, Mr. Robert.
All right, we have Angel Molina, 25 years old and just starting parking lot striping business. Any advice?
Yeah, take the All Pro Parking Lot Striping course, and you can get in touch with me. I'll leave my number in the chat box, and that course will get you started if you need some help with it. If you have not, went down that road of gaining that knowledge yet, it's going to be a lot of learning curve to go to it, a lot of mistakes. We went through it before. When we were trying to learn it, it's, parking lot striping is not for the faint of heart. It does take an extreme amount of responsibility for the individual that's carrying that on. And you got to have a knowledge base too. But the upside of it is it pays generally 10 times the amount pressure washing pays per hour. For example, if you're out there making 50 to 75 or $100 per hour pressure washing, the parking lot striping, I've been known to make up to $2,000 or $3,000 per hour striping. And of course, that's not all the time, and it's not all profit. Most of the time, we run anywhere from between $500 and $700 per hour profits when we're striping. So, starting with the parking lot striping business, if you know what you're doing, go ahead and get in it ASAP. Get up, get your marketing campaign underway, get your print material underway, buy a good email list, and start hammering away, knocking on some doors.
Okay, and we've got another interesting comment here from Barrett Herndon. Have you all considered using the gas soft wash system? Question mark. P40 Comet?
Yes. Yes, I have considered it, and that is something I probably will be putting together here shortly. For one thing, we were running out of room on our work trailer. We just rebuilt our work trailer a couple months back, so now we got some extra spare room. I do have that 12-volt system from Cody at Southeast Soft Wash. Now it's on a skid. It's in the back of my truck. It takes up a lot of room, but man, the other day we did a roof like $1,300 and I don't know what was there, 3 hours. So it's quick. Now the gas powered systems, they do have their benefits and they do have their downsides. The downsides are oftentimes they need to be rebuilt and repaired. Same thing with 12-volt pumps as well. You always replace them 12-volt pump. So that being said, I think the gas-powered systems are really good for very large roofs. Sometimes your smaller roofs is probably a little bit too much overkill, even if you try to idle it down. But I think in this year, we're going to have both systems up and running. In addition to that, we're going to add window cleaning to our service. I haven't done window cleaning in probably a decade and a half. I think it might be time to bring that back for the simple fact that not sure what the economy is going to do. I've been telling guys that's just getting started. You see all these guys on YouTube, they making several $100,000 a year, and that's fabulous. I'm proud of them. But they have been fishing in a stocked pond for the last 4 or 5 years. That's not going to be the case this year. I hope it is, but I think you're going to have a downturn in the economy that's going to be quite severe, and you need to be positioning for that, whether you start getting in with the dumpster pads, you start doing the parking lot striping, window cleaning, gutter cleaning, all the above. It's either that or just go find another job somewhere, because I think it's going to take a concerted effort. It's not going to be so easy as it was the last few years. Apex, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, so the last few years, I've been able to grow my personal pressure washing business, and business has been plentiful. It has been good. I've noticed recently it's been slowing down and picking back up, and slowing down and picking back up, and I hope going forward into 2021 we have it continues at this pace. I'm not sure if it will, but here's hoping for the best.
I'm finding now, let's say we're in a neighborhood, usually we would have 3 or 4 or 5 people walk up, want our business card, and not really even ask for a quote. They were basically saying, can y'all put us on the schedule next? Like price did not matter. Let's say this was 2 years ago, even 2019, even parts of 2020. People weren't even asking price. Can you fit me in? Now those walk-ups have diminished. Instead of getting 5, we might get 1 or 2. One of them is kind of like our old customer. Hey, just fit me in. The other one's kind of like fishing around for prices. So I see a little bit of a degradation in the motivation that these people are coming up with. It's just that energy that they're provoking, showing us. They are a little bit more cautious to spend some money. So been doing this for 27 years. This February will make 27 years. I've seen a lot of weird economies. I think this one's going to be a little bit different in the fact that you got the pandemic going on, you got the election year coming to a close, and a bunch of other issues going on. That being said, I think you still make a lot of money. It's just you're going to have to change a few tactics and pivot. It's not going to be as easy, but in the end, you will learn a lot from this. And if you're going to be in business long term, like we are, then these little bit of growing pains could actually propel you to a much higher places when the economy does bounce back.
All right, and we've got another question here from Timothy Baker. Where's to find work, comma? I have contract with the gas station striping, but the margins suck. Any idea how to find good leads?
And that's for parking lot striping.
Yeah, at gas stations.
Yeah, gas stations are always tight margins. It's been like that ever since. So, it's not your fault. Now, can you make money doing gas stations? Absolutely. But you can't make money doing one gas station or 2 or 3. It's just going to be hard to break even. You really need to get a chain of gas stations, 20, 30, 40. I know a guy that's doing 60 something gas stations, striping them and washing them, and he's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. But gas stations are tight margins. So that being said, don't rule out gas stations. Maybe still keep a few, but also go after private schools is another good. Churches right now, churches are really good to do really good job leads. Most churches aren't out there fishing for 30 quotes. Usually it's 1 or 2 prices they get, maybe 3, and then they select someone. So also want to say pharmacies, guys. Pharmacies, I can't tell you how many hundreds of thousands of dollars I've made off of pharmacies. Not so much of your Walgreens, your CVS, and your big chains, but the the small pharmacies. And what I tell guys all the time, I call it peripheral marketing. I know that term can be used in a lot of different ways. What I mean by peripheral, don't go within the city limits and try to market to those businesses. Those businesses have been marketed to over and over and over again. So kind of go on the outskirts of town, the peripheral parts of the suburbs, find some of these private schools. These church private schools are really good, where you got religious private schools as well. They have athletic programs. Their parking lots need striped, their bleachers need washed, their concrete needs to be cleaned, the roofs need to be cleaned. Also, getting back to these pharmacies, these privately owned pharmacies, usually the pharmacist owns the pharmacy. So let me repeat that. The pharmacist inside the pharmacy usually is the owner of the pharmacy. And every pharmacy has a consulting window. You can go walk into the pharmacy with your business card or flyer, and you'll see consult the pharmacist, a little private window off to the side. And I have been known to go stand up there, and I kind of tuck my business card behind my back or whatever, and the pharmacy walks up to me. He thinks I have problem with my my prescription, want a question about my prescription. And I throw him a business card. Say, hey, sir, I don't want to take up much of your time. Here's my business card. We do pressure washing, parking lots, driving, gutter cleaning, roof cleaning. If you give me a call, because he's busy, you know, I want to sit there and tie him up. 15 seconds, boom, I'm in and out. Can't tell you how many of those you can get. It's real money, too.
Absolutely. And we have a monumental 62 people watching right now.
All right, we appreciate it, guys.
And we've got 17 likes. You guys, we really appreciate those likes. If we can get even half of y'all to like that, that would be awesome.
Absolutely. Those likes, every time y'all hit that like button, it pushes it out to more people and more people. And guys, right now, people need to hear what we've been doing, especially what I've been doing for the last 27 years. I didn't have any rich kinfolks. I didn't come from money, trust me. Didn't have a rich wife, no wife. So, you know, I know some guys have the luxury of their wife making, you know, good money, or their family has good money. This everything I've learned was through starvation, literally going in the store and trying to have enough money to buy dinner. Obviously now that's not the case, but these are the tactics I learned through starvation. It was me and my brother years ago, and he's probably watching somewhere right now. So Ben, if you're watching, brother, I love you. He knows the struggles we went to. He's no longer in this business. He broke off and started his locksmith business, and he does really good with it, and I'm very proud of him.
Boom, 32 likes. You guys are awesome.
Thank you for all those likes.
All right, we have an interesting question here. Michael Laredo, he says, in a pinch, can you and would you use a laundry detergent as a surfactant for a roof/house mix?
For sure. I've used that. I've used hand soap in a pinch. Right now, we get all of our surfactant from Southeast Soft Wash. Guys, if y'all haven't tried his surfactant, I may be a bit biased. He don't pay me to say this or nothing, but he's got some good surfactant. Apex has been known to wash his truck and even take a shower in it. So.
Put it on my pancakes.
I thought he smelled like lemon. But yeah, you can use. Now be careful with your surfactant. Don't. I wouldn't use a dry mix like laundry powder, just because it's not going to dissolve and might leave some granulates on the roof. But anything liquid that's not going to interact with sodium hypochlorite, obviously it can't have any ammonia in it. If you think it might, do a test, put a little bit in a bucket, you know. But we've always used Gain in a pinch, so that Gain liquid, don't dish or laundry soap will work. And you know, it doesn't look as good, but if in a pinch, dollar stores come in handy.
Absolutely. And GoBro7, he says, how do I flush my surface cleaner backwards? Like the tips.
Oh, I think that might have been, you just texted me earlier, and sorry I wasn't too clear with that. So surface cleaner tips get clogged up for various reasons. So oftentimes you can prevent that by, I always tell Apex and Big Chris and rinse off those connections before you actually put them together on the surface cleaner. Reason being, surface cleaner tips are smaller than your normal tip in your wand. Your normal tip in your wand is going to handle, one tip's going to handle either 4 or 6 or 8 gallons. So in a surface cleaner, you're splitting that down. So those orifices are really small in a surface cleaner. So there's high pressure filters, which I don't usually run, that prevents them. So washing those things out really good, those ends, will prevent these clogs. Now, that being said, you got a clog. The tip, if the tip does not come off, and I understand some surface cleaners have fixed tips, these little bitty tiny surface cleaners, you can take a bread tie and try to push it backwards, or either you can take a flow of water and put against that surface cleaner tip the opposite way the water was trying to come out before. But make sure you got the trigger pulled on the other end or the hose disconnected so that water can go through. If you got the trigger still attached to the surface cleaner, you need to have someone pull it or do whatever, because it's not going to have that backflow. Does that make sense, Apex?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you got to be able to have that backflow. So if you got to, I've seen it where people get a clog, they undo the clog, they start back up another clog and another clog. So you re-clogging with the same material, so you got to flush it out. Best way is to do, if your surface cleaner tips come off, take them off, run your machine for a minute without the tips in it, flush all that out, then reinstall those pressure tips. But you need to take those pressure tips and hold them up to a bright light, even your phone, put your phone behind it, and being able to see through that pressure tip. And if you can't see a clear path of light coming through it, hold up to the sky, whatever you need to do, then you need to clean it out. But you really need to have an extra set of surface cleaner tips. And we're guilty of not. We usually get if I get a clog, I'm not trying to do all that. I just spin them out, put new tips in it. But then we forget to order new tips, and then all of a sudden we out of tips. But get some extra surface cleaner tips on the truck for sure.
Yeah, that O-rings, you want to have a spare.
Spare everything, yeah.
Especially if you're far from home, dude. One O-ring could mean the difference between your whole night.
When you're doing your Sonics, how far is that Sonic? 2 hours out?
It's 2 hours, yeah.
I always call them. I'm like, hey, you got extra clean change of clothes, extra pair of shoes. He's like, you ain't my daddy. But yeah, I mean, you 2 hours from home, something break down, and you got some extra tools on you, a couple shop towels. You need pretty much bring everything with you when you're 2 hours out.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I bring like extra oil. I bring food, cell phone charger, cell phone battery pack for the cell phone to recharge it in case it can't charge off the truck for some reason.
And I can't tell you how important a dry pair of clothes is to have. Put it in a Walmart bag, throw it under your seat. You might not need it, but 3 times a year.
And shoes, man, dry shoes.
Dry pair of shoes for that drive home makes a world of difference.
Yeah, last thing I want to do is smell my new truck up with wet shoes. I got
some of those Sonics get nasty, man. You can slip down into that mess, especially those initial cleanings. Yeah. Oh my God, you slip down in it, you got to change clothes.
Yeah, and keep a spare garbage bag to keep your wet clothes in. That way you don't smell anything up.
Yeah.
And, okay, so we got another question here. I think this will help a lot of people out. Okay. So, Michael Harris, he says, what do you think about a booster pump versus 12 volt?
So, yeah, that's a great question. I love booster pumps. They do have their benefit. Man, they shoot about 1.5 times the distance of a 12 volt pump. But you need to have a source of AC power. So whether you're plugging into a customer supply or you're bringing a generator with you, I have thought about it many times, getting me a booster pump in a really small, like Honda generator, and start doing that. Now, they're good. Now, but the 12 volt system doesn't shoot nearly as far as the booster pump, but it can be battery operated like ours are. They're easy to charge. You can solar charge the batteries, or either you charge them at home. And I think we've sprayed 3 days on one battery charge. But there again, you don't have the quite amount of flow or the distance. So extension wands, step ladders usually get you where you want to go with a 12 volt. Now that being said, if 12 volt goes down, what's those pumps? $130?
Yeah, like between $100 and $200 typically.
So a booster pump is about 3 to 4 times that much, or you can try to rebuild them. So, long answer, but short answer is it's really up to your preference, the amount of room you got. If I had room on my truck, I would have a 12 volt system, I would have a booster pump, and then I would have a gas power one as well for some of these 3 and 4 story buildings we get. So we just don't have that much room on our truck. So right now we sticking with the 12 volt system, and it's been pretty good. And look, the way Cody puts them together, we try to put one together, and I'm no dummy when it comes to putting this stuff together. I've done it before, but the way Cody and them got it put together, you get another 7 or 8 feet, 7, 8, 9 feet even out of his build than if you try to do it yourself. So they got it dialed down to a science, is all I can say, the way Cody's got his system built. So 12 volt pump against a booster pump, yeah, the booster pump's going to get a few more feet, but man, the 12 volts are hard to beat.
Yeah, and it's the pump's mounted on the side. It's easy to change out, if you have to change it out. I typically keep a spare pump under the back seat of the work truck. Too. That way for a fact you're getting that job done, even if one of the pumps goes down. It's rare that it happens. I'd say maybe once a year, maybe.
Yeah, depending on how much you use it. You got to rinse them out really good. Booster pumps, gas power pumps, are 12 volts. Anything with SH on it has to be thoroughly rinsed out. You don't do it one time, you're going to regret it.
Yeah, and we really appreciate those likes, guys. We got 63 people watching, 40 likes. Absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And we've got a pretty interesting question here. So JJ, he says, What's the minimum temperature you can work at? I live in Sweden. Ground is frozen half the year. Thanks.
So we got an international viewer. Thank you. JJ is his name.
Yep. JJ.
So is he power washing?
Yes.
So the minimum temperature, for power wash, obviously water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Um, you know, that being said, I have worked in colder temperatures. I think we've done it at about 28 degrees. Now, surface cleaning, the water is not going to really freeze on the ground at between 28 and 32 degrees because the ground is a little more warm than the ambient temperature. But I would say somewhere around that 30 degrees mark is probably about, you're getting close to quitting time right there. It's just brutal. I mean, a little bit of wetness on you could, get you in hypothermic really quick.
All right. And Angel Molina says, when creating an invoice and receipt, do you use an app question mark or writing a receipt by hand is okay? I did buy the course and saw the template you use. I'm just trying to see if you use anything else for receipts.
Basically, the template that y'all see in the All Pro parking lot striping course is what I use about 95% of the time. There are some little mom and pop restaurants, mom and pop gas stations that we striped, and I have just written out a hand receipt and they paid me off the register. So now, for whatever that's worth, that's been very few and far in between, but little carbon copy hand receipt. That way, whether they file it or not, that's on them, but you do need to turn in those, even your cash tickets to your CPA. So that cash receipt would be your proof that you received cash. Now, getting back to the template for the All Pro Parking Lot Striping course, that sample contract, those PDF files, you can send it to a customer, whether you're doing it on iPhone or some other Android-based application. You can use that same PDF. You just go in there and change that template. It's a template, so you just go in there and change your date, change the invoice number, the amount, description of service, and who it's going to, but still use that same format. And that's how I do mine. Sometimes I'll send out 10 or 12 invoices within a few minutes by using that same template.
Nice. It really streamlines things.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so we got Wild Wild West. Yeah, Wild West Wash Services. Apex/Billy. Explain to us why you have to go out of state to parking lot stripe. Is the demand that great?
Yeah, Mr. Wild West. So parking lot striping is an industry where we are trying to raise awareness. Reason being, we get calls Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas. I think the furthest I've gotten called was out in New Jersey area, begging us and our crew to come. Oklahoma City is another big one. Houston, San Antonio, you name it, Dallas, Fort Worth area. I've gotten calls all out of that area begging us to go stripe their parking lots. And sometimes we do. When the money is big enough for us to travel, like we did one not too long ago that was around that $60,000 mark. So we can travel for that. Obviously, you got travel expenses and then their pay. Their pay goes exponentially higher. They're on the clock 24 hours a day at that point. So the demand is there, but we don't have a lot of certified and qualified vendors to go perform these work. So these companies are desperate. So if you are in an area and you see faded lines on the ground at multiple locations, that's a really good indicator there's probably not anyone in your area doing it, or perhaps someone there in your area doing it that is just overswamped like we are. Sometimes we can't take on a striping job for months because we just can't, there's not enough hours in a day to do all of them. So you can make more money feeding off the crumbs of another striper that's too busy to get the work done, doing a little small doctor's office, dentist's office, chiropractor's office, pharmacies, like we was talking about before. So to answer Wild West's question, we really need more parking lot striping companies to come up and fulfill some of these service needs. Not so much for pressure washing. Pressure washing is being well taken care of. Some actual markets are oversaturated. That will work itself out in time. But parking lot striping is there. If guys only knew what we could do. You can tell Apex has fell in love with it. When I first hired him, he didn't know nothing about it. now when we have a out of town striping job,
I get excited,
it's
man.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I've worked a myriad of different jobs, and just the atmosphere, just being on that job site, like getting to lay that paint down. It's skilled labor. It's fun, challenging. It's
Hmm.
gainful employment. It's a skill that you can develop and progress and get better. It's a good time.
Yeah,
Straight up.
we even sent him out to Indiana to look at some work. So, what month? What was that? Last month?
Uh,
December, early
yeah,
December. Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, we can. We've been called all over the United States, and we can probably do a little more traveling this year. So y'all stay tuned. We'll be showing y'all some of that. Got another
absolutely.
question pop up there.
Yep, and we've got Brandon Barnett. What do you use to hook up two guns on one 8 gallon per minute pump?
So those 8 gallon per minute machines have an option to put a second unloader on the other side. I've never done it myself, but it can be done. So a second unloader, a second bypass line. I think you probably do it for under a couple $100. But do know that it's gonna cut the flow in half, and the psi stays the same, but the flow will be cut in half. But if you got two guns on it, one guy on lets go his trigger mechanism, so then that's going to send all the power and flow to the other gun. So I have heard of guys just sitting there trying to wash with two guns, and you got some pressure, then all of a sudden you got a whole lot. It's just back and forth. But to answer your question, second unloader or second bypass line.
All right, and if you guys want to call in live with your question, you can just dial that number that I've left in the comments. And we have another question here. It says from Brandon Herndon. He says, "Will you be upgrading your soft wash skid with Southeast Soft Wash this year?"
Yes, that's a great question. I was actually talking to a friend about that. We have a mini skid from Cody. It's a beautiful machine. I mean, we've used it so much, and already, and it's still running great. I do want to get that dual blend manifold system he's got. We don't necessarily need a pressure washer mounted on it. I may get another one mounted, just maybe a little 4 electric start mounted on a dual blend skid, just to have that option. I do want to put a second truck on the road this year, but what I was thinking, guys, is not really to do a roof job with that new manifold, that new system from Cody I want to get, but for our dumpster pads, because those systems are great for dumpster pads. I can't tell you how many times me and Apex roll up on a dumpster pad. We pull out our soft wash hose, nuke it with a 5%, and then basically take a water hose and clean up after, especially after you've done them for a while. So, yeah, I want to get with Cody maybe sometimes before summer and have us a little bit bigger system built. And then I got to get a truck for it. So that's one of my holdups. I've been looking around for a flatbed. So I want to get a good flatbed, nothing brand new. The flatbed I was wanting, I wanted to have power windows and obviously AC and air, but I want to be able to take a water hose to the floorboard. You know what I'm saying? You ever see where
Yeah,
they got the vinyl where you can wipe everything down? And I want to get that truck, maybe something 20, 30,000 miles on it, maybe a small diesel engine, and then bring it down to Cody and say, hey man, just build me a skid, designed for dumpster pads. And he's the guy to do it. I'm not going to try to build it myself.
yeah, and we've got another question. What are the best shoes for pressure washing?
You know, there's two separate trains of thoughts on it. There are some waterproof shoes, but guys, know that these waterproof shoes that you can buy, if you get water over the top of the inside of the shoe, then it never dries out. What I normally do, if it's super cold out there, then I'll wear boots and all of that. But most of the time, I have a couple pair of work shoes with me, tennis shoes, especially in the summertime. I know they're gonna get wet. I know I'm gonna, so I just throw them off, put my dry shoes on, and kind of rotate them. Now, what I've always done, y'all may laugh at me, but I go to Walmart and buy those little cheap strap shoes. I found that those shoes are the best shoes for walking roofs. And now we never walk a roof, so we don't supposed to, I guess. But sometimes if you gotta get up there for a second, those little Walmart shoes, man, they got I guess the soles on them are sticky. Man, they will stick to that roof like glue.
Yeah.
You ever tried them?
Yeah, so it's the softer rubber. It's able to get down into the grooves of the shingle like surface and grip better. And and if you're just walking around the house, let's say pre-wetting or something, I like to use a good pair of Crocs because they're breathable. They let your feet breathe, but at the same time, they're waterproof, but to an extent.
But you do got to worry about safety.
Yeah, safety's another thing.
Say, you run across your foot with your surface cleaner, even with tennis shoes on, you're gonna have some issues. So.
Yeah, old Big Chris, he likes wearing boots a lot.
Chris likes his boots. Yeah.
Yeah, and okay, so we've got a question here from Gavin Campbell. He says, "Hey, Mr. Davidson, I have a question on roof cleaning. Would you price a 6,000 square foot tile roof? Thank you."
What would I price it? We don't do a lot of tile roofs here in Louisiana, but I understand Florida and Texas they do. I've seen those prices go quite a bit higher than shingles. So you might want to check around your area. I would say probably starting at least around 40 cents per square foot, and then on up from there, depending on how bad it is.
All right, and we've got another quoting question from Yusuf Mohammed. He says, "How much would you quote a 2,800 square foot house, one story with big basement on the back side of the house, which is altogether 24 feet high for gutter cleaning? LOL, sorry."
For gutter cleaning, usually gutter cleaning, we do about $1.25 per linear foot. So you might can Google Earth that and find out what the gutters are, the length of the gutters, do some measurements, or they go out there and measure it. Now, I've seen guys do gutter cleaning really cheap to try to get in the customer's, yard and get a relationship with that customer and then upsell them from there. I'm not particularly trying to do that anymore at my stage of my business. So we get our gutter cleaning jobs kind of minimum $200, or we're not even going to go to the address. Now, if you got to do it under $200, that's up to you. But maybe you can try to let the customer know, say, hey, I'll give you a discount, $100, come clean your gutters, but I need to get a couple of your friends in the neighborhood, and let Mrs. Jones do all the calling around and marketing for you. That way, when you show up, you got 5 or 6 houses to do.
Yeah, gossip is good for business.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have 75 people watching. We have 50 likes, 76 people watching. Thank you guys so much.
50 likes, that's amazing. So that means 25 people don't like us enough to hit that like button. I'm just kidding, guys.
Yeah, so we've got another interesting question from Wade Paget.
Mr. Wade, I've talked to him the other night.
He's been asking this about 3 times. So question, soft wash skid or parking lot striping machine?
Both.
Yeah.
So, we teach how you can start striping parking lots even without a machine. So, if it's a small parking lot, maybe you can start doing those small parking lots the alternative way, get your soft wash skid, and then start making some money. And then, the parking lot striping machines are expensive. The ones we sell at our store, the small ones are $2,500 or so. The big ones that we use are around that $6,000. And that being said, that striping machine, you might spend $6,000 on it, but we can make that back times 10 monthly. So I've seen many months where we make $125,000 in that month parking lot striping, especially during dry weather.
Absolutely. And Angel Molina says, you guys both helped a lot in the course. I recommend it for anyone wanting to start parking lot striping. Thumbs up.
Well, we appreciate that, guys. If y'all are interested in the All-Pro parking lot striping course, most of y'all got my number. Just text me after this, and I can hook you up with it. And we're in transition of our resource page, guys. I know a lot of y'all may have learned that. So we have went our separate way with our resource page. We're in transition. We are building out a new training page, so all of that will be up. If you want to wait until then to get it, that's fine, but they're going to increase the prices quite drastically to cover all of those costs. So if you want to get in some of those training materials early, just text my phone number like many of you have been, and we'll definitely get you set up and rolling.
Absolutely. Let me see here. So we've got another question. What's the best brand and size of surface cleaner for the Honda 5.5 gallon per minute, 2,500 psi.
I'll let you take that one. He turned me on to a certain surface cleaner. We fell in love with it.
Okay, guys. So one of my favorite all-time surface cleaners. I've used like several different types. The one that I like the most is the General Pump Hammerhead 24-inch. It's a 3-bar, and man, I'll tell you what, it's fantastic.
I think I'm gonna move this down a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, let's move that down a
Yeah.
little bit. All right.
We're not camera guys, so y'all can hit that like button
Yeah.
if y'all want to give us a little love for messing with these cameras. I'm lucky this camera. When I came in here, I almost kicked it over. So
Yeah, and we've got a super chat here from SOMD Exterior Cleaning LLC. He says, "Thanks, you guys a bunch. I've learned a lot of valuable knowledge from you too." Dude, thank you. Got the sandwich money. Yeah.
Thank you for a super chat. How much was it?
$20.
Oh wow, that's 2 sandwiches for Billy Davidson. I love my Subways, so
Dude, that's dinner after this.
I appreciate it, guys. Y'all are the best for sure.
Yeah, and so we've got Barrett Herndon. He says, "What is the biggest wash job you two have done together?"
Oh man, monetarily wise, the biggest one, I would say probably 115, 120,000. Took us about 3 weeks to do it.
Yeah.
Well, we went and we did one in Birmingham, which was 30 something thousand too. We've done a lot of big ones. Now, our biggest striping job that we've done was around 255, 256. We had some change orders in it, so it got even a little higher. So it was over $250,000.
Wow. Wow.
Now he knows what we make and he's gonna want to raise.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm doing Apex's payroll right now because it's tax time, and I want some of my money back. You made a lot of money.
No refunds.
Yeah, dude, he made like $10,000 a month, or 7 something. What'd you say? It was 7, 8, almost 8, huh?
Yeah. 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 I eat good. I'll just say that. Yeah. Here.
I bet.
So D Buck, he says, well, man, you should be able to answer this question pretty good, seeing as you've used them for a long time.
All right, what we
He
got?
says, which 4-gallon per minute pump is better, General, AR, or Comet?
General is the top of the list out of those 3, and what's really better than that is the cat pump. So, cat pump's the best, top of the heap. Under that, General. Under that, AR. And after that, I don't buy any other stuff. And I probably won't even buy AR most of the time. But General and cat is my 2 pumps I'll go with.
Absolutely. And if you guys want to call in with your live question, call 225-819-7330. We will get your question and then answer it on the air.
That would be fun if we had a live caller. We've never done this, guys, where someone actually calls live to this phone that he's holding. We put you on speakerphone. You ask your question, and then we'll answer it offline, so you'll be able to hear us on here. But maybe, if no one calls tonight, that's fine. I get it. Sometimes I don't like the sound of my own voice, but sometimes you're a little shy. But I think it would be interesting. But if not, we'll just answer some in the chat box.
Yep, and we've got a pretty interesting question here from Jason Champion. He says, does the chemical ratio for SH change on shingles that are green and sometimes red in color?
Not really. I mean, anywhere between that 5 and 6% is going to be sufficient. Now, what may change is how many times you have to apply. Now, I have been known to bump my mix up to that 7%, but sometimes you will have to apply your solution 2 or 3 times. In most cases, Apex, I think we apply twice usually, and we'll get it clean.
Yeah. Generally, that second one is for the hot spots, and
if you get that moss on the shingles where it's actually that fuzz up there, sometimes you got to treat that 2 or 3 times. You can't get it off while you're there, but what's important is you want to change that color of that moss either to a really bright yellow or it looks like almost a white in color, and it's dead. And at that point, you got to let your customer know, it's going to fall off on its own.
Yeah, like a lot of roof jobs that I'm on, the customer is asking about the lichen and, when's it going to come down and all that.
And guys, we have a lot of you, dozens and dozens of people over the past few months wanted us to develop a little small
Hey,
course.
we've got a caller coming in.
Okay, go ahead and answer. So we had a little course that we developed on
All right. Welcome.
roof cleaning.
You are on the air live. And what is your question, sir?
Hey, this is Robert Wilkinson. I thought I'd call in and,
Mr. Robert, how are you?
yeah, I'm trying to find a place where it's just peace and quiet. There's a house full of people here. Okay, here we go. Well, Billy, I think you remember me. I bought a parking lot machine and ended up doing my parking lot here where I live,
Yes, sir.
which you helped me out on. And now like I mentioned, I asked before, it's got a big white fence around the 72 units here, whatever, and white vinyl fence. And you told me about the pricing, but I really haven't done any pricing, any pressure washing. I'm kind of handy, I did the parking lot and it came out great. And but what would I have to do to get by this first job? Get some money coming in, then maybe I could buy your course or buy a machine.
Sure.
Or I definitely want to buy your course when the money comes in.
Is the fence vinyl
So
or?
what would I have to do to get this thing done?
Yes, sir. Is the fence vinyl or wood?
Vinyl.
Yeah, I would just go in and treat it with about a 2 or 3% sodium hypochlorite and give it a good power rinse, and then you'll be in great shape. Should come out looking like new.
All right.
Say
And
that again now?
repeat it.
Yeah, I would treat the vinyl fence with at least a 2% sodium hypochlorite solution. You can do that even with a pump up sprayer if you want, and go back and give it a good power rinsing, and those fences usually clean up fairly great.
Okay, that's good. I'll do that.
All right, thank you, Robert, for your call, and we'll talk soon.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
All right.
I bet. Nice. Okay, and we had another call come in.
Yeah, we did have another call come in. I can call them
Yeah,
back.
just call them back. Put them on speaker. We'll see if we can help them with something today.
All right, this one's coming out of Texas.
Texas. I think we got a few more likes.
Howdy, partner. You are live on the air with Billy Davidson. What is your question?
My question is, how do you deal with the bandit signs, and what is it you do to get around the enforcement agent part of the cities that say that you cannot put them up?
Yeah, so you putting your bandit signs up in locations where the bandit police signs are not going to find them is always key. Some of these areas may be on private property. Sometimes they in small ducked off areas behind dumpsters or something. Now, that being said, if the sign's too big, it's going to get them a lot of attention. And if the sign is too small, no one's going to see it. So you got to find that happy medium.
Okay, so you need to know the difference between public property and private property in
Yeah.
line of sight.
Yes, absolutely. And another thing I always like to do is put an obstacle in between the way of your sign and someone that might want to steal it. So oftentimes you're not going to have any trouble with the police, writing you tickets. In some areas it's possible, but oftentimes you put a sign out and 3 minutes later it's gone. So put a big canal between you and that sign, and your sign will stay around a little bit longer.
All right, so what do you think about burner numbers on that situation?
Say again?
Burner numbers
Okay.
on your signs?
The what kind of numbers? Burner numbers.
Oh, okay, yeah, burner numbers. Not really, because someone's going to want to do research on you. So they research that number, and it's no longer to be found online. You don't have a Google My Business listing or a Facebook attached to that number. So you're probably not you're going to lose a lot of calls like that.
Okay, thank you, Billy. I appreciate you.
All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, awesome.
Let's get back in here. We've got a lot of questions rolling in, and
Okay.
the live count is up to 76 people watching. We've got 64 likes. You guys are killing it on
Thank
likes
you for
tonight.
the likes. Absolutely.
Excellent. Okay. So we got GoBro7. How often do you get graffiti removal?
Very little. Here in Louisiana, they have cracked down on graffiti tremendously. So we don't get a lot of graffiti. When we do get it, it's a little bit rare, but we're always happy to go do it because it does pay good. I wanted to mention one other thing about the yard signs as well. What I've done years ago, I worked for a property, like a commercial property, and I would maybe deduct $100 off of the total bill if they allowed me to put the yard sign on their private property, and that way it's legal. No one, I mean, someone can still go steal it from them, but there's no one that's going to gripe about it because it's on private property. Also, guys, I want to mention too, we did develop that roof cleaning course. So if y'all interested in that, and get in touch with me. And also, I teach our yard sign strategy in a course. Actually, me and Apex filmed it, and we show you exactly what signs to use, the verbiage to use on them, where to put them. It's so important, and the size matters, because if they're too big, they're going to get seen, stolen, irritate somebody, get littering tickets for it. If they're too small, no one can see it. So there's a right size there, the right verbiage, and the color matters as well.
Absolutely. And we've got a pretty interesting question here. I haven't really heard this one ever. Jason Hufner, he says, cleaning walkway near a fish pond, what is a safe chem?
None. Yep, can't use any. Even if you get biodegradable chemicals, it doesn't mean it's non-toxic. So a surfactant can kill fish. Surfactant in water puts a layer. Surfactant has polymers in it, if you're not familiar with it. So the surfactant gets on the water, it acts like a sheen on top of the water. It deprives the fish of oxygen, and you'll have a fish kill in there. Sodium hypochlorite, same way. And it doesn't take much sodium hypochlorite to kill off a whole pond of fish. I've never done it, thank the Lord, but I've seen some pictures of it. So plain water. Another good thing you could use is hot water there. That's definitely a good way to clean near some type of marine habitat.
Awesome. And so we've got a pretty good question here. So Angel Molina says, parking lot striping. Do you guys ask for a deposit to book the customer, and what is the percentage? But before we answer that, we do have a live caller.
Okay.
All right, welcome. You are live with Billy Davidson on YouTube. What is your question?
All right, so it was getting really cold. It was probably about like 33 degrees, 34 degrees. And I didn't winterize my 12-volt pump. And like the next day I was getting ready to winterize it. It primed for just a second, and then it never primed again. I'm just having trouble priming. What do you think it is?
It's most, yeah, absolutely. So this gentleman's having issues, guys, with a 12-volt pump not priming. In the situations I've seen, usually it's an airlock, it's an air trap in it. So what you want to do is take off your feeder line of the 12-volt pump and force water into it with a water hose. So it's going to be positive pressure. Turn the pump on, and eventually that positive pressure from your water hose will push out that air block and prime up your pump. And that's what I always tell guys: if you run your pump dry, try not to do it, because you're probably going to have to take your line off and force feed that air through it. So I hope that helps, and thank you for your call.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Awesome.
Okay, let's move on to some more
So
questions.
the parking lot striping question, you said, can you read that again, or?
Yeah, let me.
About the money, the down payment.
Yeah.
Sometimes we will request a 25% upfront money. There's two things you can do that. You can do it through a personal check, online payment, but also a third way to make your customer very comfortable with making this upfront payment is not to give you the money, but to give for parking lot striping, put money in a paint account like at Sherwin-Williams, and that way you can purchase out of it. Some of our very large jobs, we've done this. Usually when it gets over like $100,000, we'll request like a $25,000 paint deposit up front. They call in, put it on the books at our local paint store, and we just draw off of that. We might use all of it, we might not. If there's a remainder left over, obviously that comes back to us. Most of the time I try to spend it, whether I could buy an extra piece of equipment or a couple extra buckets of paint, whatever. But yeah, so there's three ways you can do it. You can take the money through a check, online payment, or either have them put a paint deposit at the paint store.
All right, and this next question, I'll go ahead and take this one. David Weatherford says, do you ever use those laundry detergent beads to scent your SH? Thanks for all of your great videos. Well, to answer that question, our SH usually smells like one of two things depending on the surfactant that we're using.
Right.
Either cherry or lemon. And you guys can get surfactant like that for your own from southeastsoftwash.com.
Yep, his surfactant it's not really meant to be a cover scent, but it sure does help. But yeah, you could put some of those beads in there. Just make sure it's compatible with sodium hypochlorite, because there's a ton of different beads out there that you can use, and I'm not familiar with every one of them. So read your labels. Obviously, if it's got ammonia or any type of acids in it, it's not going to be compatible. So just be careful about that. But that will help out with the smell.
All right, and this next question, I think it's going to save a lot of people. Like, it's you need to know this. H2O Home Improvement says, should I be winterizing my Titan 850 machine?
Yes, absolutely. Your Titan 850 is a latex-based only parking lot striping machine. So latex is waterborne, water-based. So water will freeze still around at 32 degrees. Now, inside of paint, do have some other components in it, which lowers that freezing temperature of paint. But still, anytime you get close to that 30 degrees, 28 degrees Fahrenheit for an extended period of time, you want to winterize the machine. Winterizing a Titan 850 is not the easiest thing to do, because you got to flush out all of that and then basically put antifreeze or a washer fluid in it. The easiest thing, guys, to do is to grab this thing and put it in the garage or closet in your living room. But if it's an extended period of time and you do got to winterize it, definitely want to flush all the paint out, chase it out with clean water, and then draw in maybe some antifreeze or washer fluid. And it's good to stay like that for weeks. Just make sure you get your antifreeze out your gun. So don't just put it in a bucket and suck it up through the machine. Make sure you get a full circulation through it back into your bucket, and make sure it's winterized. More importantly, when you're winterizing with those small machines, not only the paint could freeze in a machine, but if it's setting up for a long time, run that machine out of fuel. And Jacob, you might could talk a little bit about this. Having that fuel stored in these small engines over an extended period of time could cause some issues.
Yeah, so whenever gasoline and like basically anything is stored for too long, the fuel will begin to form what's called varnish. It's kind of like a gel-like substance. It really just gunks it all up. You want to make sure you either put some fuel stabilizer, and especially for like pressure washing machines, like we had a freeze here recently. I had to go and get some antifreeze and pump it through my machine and let the unloader trigger, the bypass trigger, so that now I have antifreeze in my lines, my hoses, the pump itself. That's crucial. Preparation, winterization is essential if you want to keep rolling.
Yeah, take that time and winterize those machines. If not, you can blow a $2,000 pump and then it's broke down, so, and you know how parts are now, everything's slow shipping, and everything is hard to get your hands on. So make sure you're doing your due diligence and protecting your property for sure. Let's go ahead and take a couple more questions, and then we actually going to scoot out and go grab a sandwich somewhere. I hadn't ate all day, and I'm sure Jacob, he stays hungry. So
Food. Yeah. Okay, so Michael Harris says, what is the best soft wash hose and to get it at?
So we use we got Cody's skid, so it come with a soft wash hose. Now I think
Curry Tech.
Yep, you bought it. Where did you buy it from? Like Tractor Supply or?
Typically, you can find those online, and if I'm not mistaken, you can also find those on southeastsoftwash.com.
Oh, by the hose itself. Yep, that's right.
And we've got one guy, he just keeps, he really wants this question.
Okay, let's see.
Daddy182, he says, what is the max SH you can use on cement roof tiles? Thank you.
I would think somewhere around that 5 or 6% you should be maxing out. Anything hotter than that, you might not damage the roof so much, but things on the ground.
Alrighty, and that's pretty much it.
Much all of them.
We might have one more. I'm searching for it.
We got time for one more question. There goes one coming up there.
Okay. Alrighty.
There's another one, 2, 3. I see a bunch of them popping up. Any good ones?
Yeah, these this mostly just thank you and.
Oh, okay. Thank y'all for watching. We appreciate everyone tuning in and hitting that like button. And again, if you hadn't subscribed to my channel, please do. And Apex as well. We would love to have your subscription, and we're going to promise to keep to earn it. and continue to earn your subscription. So those are important to us.
We got our last question. He's calling in.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, let's get it. All right, thank you for calling in. You are live on the air on YouTube with Billy Davidson.
Hello, can you hear us, caller?
Yes.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Billy, how you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you?
Doing great.
All right, sir. So, what is your question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, what's the learning curve expectancy on parking lot striping?
So there's two trains of thoughts here. If you have someone teaching you, you probably can learn this within a few days if you're motivated. If you're going to learn it on your own, like I did, it probably took me 2 or 3 months to learn it, but with some very costly mistakes in the process.
Excellent. And with the learning course, you think it's a lot easier to be able to round that curve?
Oh yes, absolutely. With the All Pro Parking Lot Striping course, we have sections in there where we teach exactly how you need to practice parking lot striping. And guys, I tell guys all the time, you can practice wrongly and form bad habits while practicing. So we teach you how to practice perfectly and not form these bad habits early on. Because look, when you form some bad habits, like I did, it is hard to break those later down the road. So perfect practice makes a much better outcome than going out there and practicing and making mistakes even while you're practicing. And there were times that we would practice and we would make a line straight and make the line look great, but it was by accident and we didn't know how to replicate it. So in this course, we took our time and it's 7 hours long. It's almost 8 hours long now because we added new content, and it teaches you how to practice where you can form good habits early on in your business.
Excellent. And do you suggest going with a higher end machine, if at all possible, to begin with, so that this way you can start just right at the top of your niche?
Yes, absolutely. Depending on what climate you're in, the PL 850 is a great machine, but it will only spray latex paints. Oftentimes that will get you through for a while, but the Titan 2850s will spray a wide variety of paints, and those paints will allow you to stripe in below freezing temperatures using the correct paint. And of course, we teach that as well in the All Pro Striping course. But again, the striping machine, the 2850 is going to be $5,000 or $6,000 versus the Titan PL 850, which is less than $2,500. Oftentimes the guys will get the little 850 and then make some quick money and then go and buy the big machine. And now they got two machines and maybe dedicate one for your ADA like we do, and then the other for the parking lines. Hire a helper, teach them. Now all of a sudden you can start making serious money, sometimes $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 each night with two machines. So your growing is going to be really quick up front just because of the money's so extraordinary, and then reinvesting that back into your business could definitely put you in a great position.
All right.
Yeah, Billy, I'm super excited to have that course, and obviously I got it from you guys, and I'm bringing it to the Mile High State of Denver. And with doing pressure washing, it's a really nice add-on that I think everybody in the industry should obviously consider.
Well, I definitely appreciate those kind words and that testimonial. And look, Denver's an awesome place. I've never been out that way, but that is on my list to visit this year. So if we ever get a chance to come out to Denver, we'll be letting you know about it.
Yeah, Billy, I'd love the opportunity to have you guys come out here and obviously meet you guys in person. And if I don't meet you guys out here in person, I'll definitely be meeting you guys at some point over this year at some event or some function to come and meet you guys, and excited to see Apex and excited to see you and, you know, just kind of meet you guys personally. So I really appreciate everything you do for the industry.
Absolutely, man. We love each and every one of y'all. And if y'all need anything, don't be a stranger. Give us a call.
Yeah, Billy, I super appreciate it. It's Eric from Denver, Colorado with Platinum Pressure Washing and Window Fittings. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
Shout
you,
out
Eric.
to Denver, Colorado. That's a beautiful place out here. I have a friend that lives out that way, and he said that the hiking's beautiful, the fishing, and we just need to make some time to get out there. Maybe Apex will fly out there with me.
Yep, and here we are at the 71-minute mark. We've got 77 likes, 61 people tuned in. Thank you guys so much.
We appreciate it, guys. Again, check out Apex's channel. If y'all hadn't subscribed, please do. If y'all need any of our training courses, we promise we are diligently working on a new training page as we speak. We have a dedicated team of people doing it as we speak now. It's going to be bigger. It's going to be better. It's going to have less glitches. And I think it's going to help so many people out. As the other training page did, helped out hundreds of people, but this one is going to be bigger and better. And this is the reason why we're making this move, so we can have more control over it. The other team that was running it was fabulous, but sometimes it comes to a point where you expect a certain amount of growth, and there's only one way to move forward. So that's what we're doing. So guys, anyway, I'm Billy Davidson Pressure Wash Paint, and joined here with Apex. Again, Apex, thank you for coming out and helping us with this. I'm going to treat him out to a dinner. Thank you guys for the super chat early. Thanks for the likes. Again, we'll be doing this periodically, so please subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell, and we'll see y'all in the next video.